Imagine if I
They
was
just
recording.
moved my priest to another small town.
Oh, man.
Went over the county line and the sheriffs didn't talk to each other.
Folks, that was a 80s country song called Big Dreams in a Small Town, just to reiterate, not to be confused with Try That in a Small Town, which is 2023 country by Jason Aldean. I always thought his name should be Jason Aldoon. It sounds more southern to me. And you were postulating that well, we were talking about two songs. We were talking about
Yeah, I thought you were playing that
Richmond, north of Richmond.
Yeah, that like diabetic lumberjack song.
That song, my dad and I were talking about this before. I don't have a problem with either, as you guessed. Look at me. I'm wearing a Coors Light shirt. I'm wearing a backwards fishtails hat. Do you think I dislike those songs? No, of course not. However, I will
And to
say,
be fair, I don't think I've listened to either of them.
yeah, and I think that I'm not going to bore you with the Jason Aldean song, only because it's much more commercial, and you could probably, if you ever decide you want to hear it, you could easily hear it.
Well,
you could easily
he's
hear either of them.
he's a superstar already, right?
Yes.
So
yeah.
he's basically just pandering to a demographic of people that he can grift money off of.
That was what my dad was saying. He was saying that he feels like the Jason Aldean song was much more like of a commercialized rebellion against like big corporate whatever.
Well, here's the weird thing, because there's also like corporation propaganda music, i.e. when they like exhumed Dolly Parton from her fucking grave to make Working 5 to 9
Yeah.
because the economy is fucked up. You still gotta have your 9 to 5, or else you're not gonna get health care. You gotta do your 5 to 9.
I didn't
like,
know they did
there's
that.
literally a 5 to 9 song now.
Okay.
Talking about like hustle culture and like, this isn't your day job. This is your dream job. It's your 5 to 9.
Yes.
You have to work at least 18 hours a day in America to stay afloat, and that's the dream.
That is the dream, baby. I didn't know they did that. How recent is that?
Like that song came out when corporations were like, it's about time we get back to the office, guys.
Yeah. Now the thing is, I noticed this the other day because we've talked about the political climate in the country. Obviously, who hasn't? I think that after this most recent swing of, when the Bud Light boycotts happened and which are still going on, which,
I mean, yeah.
and then the Target shit.
Anyone who is mad at Bud Light has had a Bud Light since their blow up.
I declined to jump on board with that. I'm proud of myself for that, as I've said
it's
before.
stupid.
The Target thing
I mean, we
was
talked
another
about
thing.
that. It wasn't even like, it was literally like they got free promo.
It was a TikTok video.
Yeah, it was a TikTok video.
It was your brother sending someone a special can that somebody else at the company made and went, hey, make a video. Maybe we'll get a couple million views. And then conservatives, I guess the conservatives the nerd conservatives, not the cool ones like me, but the nerd ones, they don't understand normal social culture. They don't understand social media culture. And so they took someone sending Dylan Mulvaney a special can for himself as Bud Light just mass released a big trans 30, a special trans 30 for everyone.
Insane.
It's just a massive difference. And I think that whole thing makes us look stupid. And that's why I didn't jump on board. But then you had the Target thing. I think what I'm getting at is that I think that corporations are starting to see that you can't just pander to one side of the aisle, and there's benefits to pandering to both again. Because that's normally what used to happen. You used to see, especially after 9/11, commercials were always, especially truck commercials, were always like, made in America, blah, blah, blah. Well, they still kind of are because that's their audience, like a pickup truck.
You remember when every restaurant had to change it from French fries to Freedom fries.
Mm-hmm. That was officially the day that 9/11 had jumped the shark in culture. Because I remember being a kid and all my family and like everyone I knew was just like, all right, this is too much. This is stupid. And everything goes like that. People push it and push it and push it. They try to capitalize on something. And so they were capitalizing on like the whole patriotic surge after 9/11, obviously. And then they jumped the shark and then it went back the other way. And I think what's happening right now is, like it or not, from my vantage point, and I think most people would agree, I do feel like mainstream media has tended to kind of pander more towards the left-leaning narrative for the past 10 years in sports, in award shows, in movies, in shows, in everything that I've seen, at least. But I have noted, and commercials and stuff, which is what I'm talking about, but I have noticed there's been a couple, like Ford just put out a commercial that was coming on all day Saturday when I was watching college football, and it was like, who said trucks aren't made in America? Why don't you try asking someone from Michigan? And then it's like, Ford, we're all in on America. Those other guys doing stuff in China. And I was like, oh shit, companies are starting to realize that like you can't exclusively pander to like the whole woke shit. Now they're pandering to the right side, and it's equally corny.
I don't think trucks have ever pandered to the quote unquote woke left.
Cars have, though.
No, all the big three manufacturers have always been like, we're made here and we're made by us Americans.
Yeah.
Built, Dodge strong in America.
They were the last one to go, I would say.
Ford tough.
But cars in general, for a while, you'd watch a commercial. It's like a black dad, white mom, Asian kid. You're like, all right, we're just throwing in anything right now. It's like, but like this commercial stuck out to me as like, damn, they're really trying to push that angle more than I've noticed recently. I feel like the past two things with Bud Light and Target have kind of proven to the market that it's like, no, we can't just alienate one side. And now I kind of like it less because whenever you pander, it just makes it feel like corny. And it's like, no, now the pendulum's swinging back again and it sucks because now, it's just a matter of time until, I don't know. But it's just something I've noticed. But Jason Aldean's song, Try That in a Small Town, I think is a good example of that, according to my dad, who thinks it is more of a commercialized thing. And I remember country songs, speaking of Dolly Parton, that came out after 9/11. It was all about like being a soldier and stuff. And it was like really promoting the military. And it was like obvious. Speaking of country, the Dixie Chicks are no longer the Dixie Chicks as of 2020. I didn't know that.
Yeah, they're just called the Chicks.
They're called the Chicks. So add that to the list of things that changed in 2020 because it was a lot.
All they did too was just say like, hey, the war wasn't a good thing. And then all of America got mad at them for some reason.
Yeah, but also like I was 9 at the time, so I'm not going to be like I was against them. I remember being in 4th grade against. I don't fucking know, but it's easy to look back now and judge like the decision to go into Iraq. I don't know what way I wanted to pronounce it. I'm gonna say Iraq. That sounds more like the Middle Eastern way to say it. Iraq. It's everybody looks back now and goes, yeah, that was such a bad decision. But during that time, it was the mainstream thing, I would say. I feel like it was almost like a bipartisan thing for the most part, that people were like, yeah, let's fucking do this, even though it made no logical sense because we had just gotten attacked by Al-Qaeda, who was based in Afghanistan. And then we were
we didn't even go to Afghanistan.
We kind of did, but it had nothing to do with the main thing, which was invading Iraq and overthrowing Saddam Hussein, who had nothing to do with anything. And they were like, yeah, he has weapons of mass destruction. And everybody was like, all right. And then he died, and then it didn't have anything. It was like, so what are we? And then we stayed there for like 20 more years.
Yeah.
And it's like, at the time, it like, I think the Dixie Chicks were like counterculture for coming out against the war at the time, because it's hard to imagine, but the mainstream culture of the country was like super pro-military, pro-America 20 years ago. And now it's kind of the opposite. Now it's almost counterculture to support cops, to support the military. And then again, that kind of swings back. It's hard to imagine that in 20 years that could be the opposite again, But so I'm starting to notice maybe that Jason Aldean song is kind of like record companies sitting there and being like, yeah, there's this like, this whole market of people that are fed up with all the bullshit. So let's like mass produce a song. So I can see that. I will, however, say about the Oliver Anthony thing though, it seems much more organic. He was on Rogan. I watched I watched 2 clips of it, which is the best you can do on YouTube anymore with the Rogan experience, unfortunately. He's exactly my age. That was cool. He was like, yeah, man, I was trying to do music forever. I'm 31. I was like, dude, I've been trying to do music forever, and I'm 31. This guy's authentic. And that's just, I think there's a difference between a pandering song that is clearly done for commercial success and a song that appeals to a large amount of people organically by someone who probably didn't even know this song was going to get 1 fucking view. I highly doubt.
I mean, I don't know how organic it was.
What do you think?
The shit came out where like, I don't know. I forget if it was like the Daily Wire, like one of those weird news websites, like sent out a representative to film that video for him to make it seem organic. They shot it in the woods and then put it online, and then like 20 to 30 different like conservative influencers reposted it within a couple hours.
Weird. I didn't know about that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I think somewhat organic, but then turned into media backed.
But how did they
seem organic?
Like, you're a guy. You're Oliver Anthony, right? Nobody knows who the hell you are.
Yeah.
You're 31 years old. You live in some like coal mining town. You work at like something, lumber yard or something. And then you have this song that you're going to record a music video for, and then out of nowhere, every mainstream conservative company hits you up to help you film that video. That's almost, how does that happen?
Like I said, I believe
Did
when he
like,
originally
email them?
posted the song, it was organic, but then the one that went viral that looked like it was organic wasn't organic
So they like
at all.
redid it. Okay.
They remade something that didn't go viral and made it go viral.
Interesting. Okay. I didn't know about that. I'm gonna have to rewatch The Truth about Oliver Anthony. But as it stands right now, I think he's a pretty cool guy. And the song, like it or not, it's pretty fucking catchy. The melody is good. I don't know how much success he's gonna find in the long term, only because all of his songs are just acoustic guitar and singing, which I think is crazy to think that like.
Well, like also like the weird fan base that got built up for him overnight already hates him because like a video came out where he was supporting Biden.
Oh yeah.
So like within like a week of popping off, he already got canceled by the right because they're like, wait a second, you made a song about hating welfare babies. I liked you, but you said you liked Biden? That's fucked up. You've gone too far now.
I've caught wind of that. I have caught wind of people saying that he is apparently like pro Biden.
So
well, I don't know about pro
like,
Biden or just like pro, like not completely right wing.
Well, now like blue checks are like, he's a CIA. He's CIA because he was sent to infiltrate the right and da 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 da. Some dumb shit.
I wouldn't put it past the CIA, but as it stands right now, I might be getting psyoped. But anyway, folks, that is the difference between those 2 songs and the song that we opened up with, Big Dreams in a Small Town by Restless Heart, some 80s country, a forgotten decade in country, if you ask me. Live from the studio, I am Jimmy Selesky.
I'm Eric Glazer.
And we're coming at you post-Labor Day. It is officially, well, I guess it's edging towards fall.
Yeah, we're almost in fall.
But it's like 1,000,000 degrees outside.
Yeah. It's like it's been fall weather all of August, and then the minute it turns September, they're like, actually, we're gonna spin it back to summer.
Yeah, yeah. I always have conflicts at this time of year because as much as I hate to admit it, I think I am a fall guy, and I never perceived of my way as such. I always thought of myself as a summer guy. And then I kind of came to terms with, I don't actually really like summer that much.
No.
And then I was like, oh, you know what
Just
it really
the
is?
majority of your life, you had off during summer. So you associate summer with, ooh, I can do whatever I want.
Exactly. It was almost like teacher's petty to not prefer summer to every season because it's like, what do you like, school?
Yeah.
Your favorite season of the year is fall when you're back to school? What are you, a nerd? Clearly you got to like summer. Then I've been out of school for 14 years. So I think I can let that go. I think it's
that's
safe to
fine.
let that go. My life does not change basically at all. In fact, I work more in the summer now. So now I'm almost a nerd for still liking summer.
Yeah.
What do you like your job? You nerd. Then I thought I liked spring, which I do. But I think I'm a transitional month guy. I think I'm trans when it comes to seasons. I like the transition from, obviously, nothing makes you happier than when it goes from winter to spring. You're fucking stoked. Everything's getting warm again. But this odd thing happens, like we're talking about with the political stuff, the pendulum swings. You almost get a similar feeling when you can start it feeling like fall-y again. You know where it's headed. You know where it's headed is nowhere good. You don't like the winter. Who likes winter? That's a weird one. I will accept any of 3 of the 4 answers, fall, spring, or summer, but liking winter is weird.
I'm going to say it. I like winter more than summer.
But where does it fall in your top 4?
I'm definitely... I think I would have to say fall, then spring, winter, summer.
All right, that's fair.
Yeah.
That's fine. As long as winter isn't your favorite.
I would say spring first, but spring is just like it fucks me up with allergies. So like it starts getting me fucked up, and then I'm fucked up for the whole summer, and then it finally chills out in the fall.
Yeah.
And then you get like 2 months of winter where there's no pollen, and then all of a sudden, like July 14th, there's pollen again somehow.
Spring
Or June 14th or January.
Spring, like saying spring is your favorite season is like saying blue is your favorite color. It's like, yeah, obviously blue rocks.
Yeah.
But, you know, you got to be a little bit more creative. You can't make blue your favorite color.
Go with
Even though
green.
it is pretty much everyone's favorite color if they really admit it. Like you see a nice blue, you're like, that might be my favorite color. But, you know, green. I got to say green.
Green's good.
I love green.
There's blue in there.
There is blue in
You're
there.
getting yellow too.
You're
You're
getting a little
getting 2
yellow.
for 1.
Boom. It's a secondary.
deal.
It's a good deal.
Yeah.
It is a good deal. Green's a good deal. Liking winter is like saying black is your favorite color. It's like, dude, you're dark.
Yeah.
You're weird. Although I will say, black is definitely one of my favorite colors.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
For like clothing.
Clothing, designing
anything.
shit.
Yeah.
When you're doing like graphic design, uniforms, who doesn't like when their team wears all black uniforms? It's sick. And it works with everything. Black goes with everything. There's only 2 things that go with everything. Black, white. And for some reason I've never been able to figure out. Asian. Blue jeans.
Blue jeans go with anything.
Blue jeans
But
go with everything.
Here's the hack. Black jeans.
Black jeans.
Black jeans, you could wear those at a fucking black tie event and no one's going to be the wiser.
It goes with things that haven't even been invented yet.
Yeah, you can. I've literally worn black jeans to like gala events and no one notices because you have a fucking suit jacket on top that's black, so they just assume like, oh, those are the pants for the jacket.
Yeah. It's a good way of sneaking being casual.
Yeah.
While, like, it's like people
Not
that
even casual, just comfortable.
comfortable, casual, but it gives you a certain amount of edge when you wear black jeans. It's like from afar, you look just like any other person. But then when people get up close, it's like, oh shit, this guy's wearing jeans? I didn't even know. This guy's low key right now? That's nuts. So, yeah, I don't know. Fall, winter, we're here. I do think Labor Day came a little bit early. I'm still not completely processing it's over.
Usually they see the shadow and it goes back in the hole for a couple weeks.
My pool is, I guess everybody's pool is closed now. I didn't go to the pool once. It's the worst.
Well, you guys'
record.
pool like never opens. Like that's the main thing.
It for a while it was pretty bad during COVID, and I let them have it because they like basically like, okay, you don't want to have the pool open during 2020, fine. They tried to make it like a 2021 thing too, and that was when I sent them a snarky email and was like, so we're getting like some credits back since this is like one of the amenities that we're paying for. Not the worst argument in the world.
Yeah.
But it was snarky.
Actually, no, your rent's going up.
Yeah, actually, we're raising rent 8%. Oh, that's not what I thought.
We're shrinking the pool by 3%.
It was especially snarky coming from me, who never uses the pool ever. But yeah, I'm going to the beach this coming week, and like I was saying, this is always a conflicted time of year because I want to start getting in fall mode. Mm-hmm. Like I see my Halloween cauldron coffee mug in the back of my cabinet. Yeah. Just ready. I see my jack-o'-lantern that's always on my coffee table. Mm-hmm. Still there. And I'm like, now is your time, dude. It's about to come.
Now it makes sense.
But I can't get in fall mode before I go to the beach. The Ren Fair is back, and I saw people going to the Ren Fair. And I was like, dude, I love the Ren Fest, surprisingly. I love it.
Too hot for the Ren Fest right now.
You can't go to the Ren Fest in the beginning.
Can you imagine how sweaty everyone is there right now?
Oh, my God. You're already dealing with sorry, Ren Fest people, but you guys aren't known for your hygiene at the very least. Mm-hmm. I mean, I don't even know what to quantify, how to qualify Ren Fair people. It's just, I could see that demographic being smelly. Mm-hmm. Let's just put it that way.
Let's just get this straight. There's booty and titty sweat across all the spectrum over there.
Across all spectrums. And I don't think anybody would disagree with me there. But to go there during Labor Day, it feels wrong. It's like it would be like going to like Christmas Wonderland in like October. It's like, dude, you're jumping the gun. Yeah. Like, I know you're happy Ren Fair is here. I'm happy too, but you got to have some patience. It can't be 100 degrees and I'm going to the beach next week. That's really the main thing. The fact that I'm going to the beach this coming week and you're at Ren Fest, slow down. Yeah. You're making me feel weird for being at the beach. But
and that's it.
I mean, that's really it. That's really it.
Oh my God.
Speaking of matters of principle, I feel the need to call this back to the desk. I had hoped and I had assumed that I would never have to speak to this again, because statistically speaking, when you, John, Joe, and I sat in a room last week and we raised the topic of the passing lane.
Yeah, we figured it out.
No one disagreed. Mm-hmm. That was 100% agreement across the board.
Yeah, open and shut.
Across all political spectrums, across age groups, across life circumstances, married, single, liberal, conservative, young, old. We all agreed. Yet somehow that sample size apparently was not representative of the general public. This has been the most heat that I have received. Really? Since my take on Lamar Jackson this time last year.
Oh my God.
It's been a lot. I don't know if you've caught any of the comments.
I kind of figured everyone would just be like, yup, agreed.
Yeah. The first couple comments were like, hell yeah. And then came in the disagreements. The pass lane princesses, as I like to call you, they were not too happy.
Interesting.
It was almost like a podcast civil war in a way, because some of our noted listeners were like, nah, dude, you're way off.
Damn.
Like, what?
Podcast civil war?
I'm
Team Jimmy versus Team Eric, even though we're on the same team
we're
on this issue.
The one issue?
The one issue we agree on?
No, it's really strange. I could read some of the.
I was about to pull it up.
Let's pull it up, because I think it's truly eye-opening, and
eye-opening.
It is eye-opening, dude. Like, there's no other word,
the
because
minds of our maniac fan base.
And this is not like, the thing is, this is not like, when I released that.
Yeah, there's a lot of comments on here. What the fuck? God damn, bro.
So first and foremost, the owner of Underground Pizza said, damn, this is so valid. That was like the first comment. I was like, hell yeah. We're like 100% success rate. Then I got a bunch of like joking ones, like, get out of my fast lane, granny. I was like, all right, that's funny. Then I had one guy go, dumb as fuck take. I was like, all right, I'll still like that, because at least that's, kind of funny. And then that's when the hate kind of started coming in. This woman says, just let people pass. It's not your problem if they are going 50 miles per hour over the speed limit. I'm the old lady here and I just move. Sometimes want to pass and I'm over because I don't want to be hit by a truck or a bus. Just move over. You are super young to be bitching like that. Damn. I said, you are 100% correct. It is not my problem if someone decides they want to go 50 over, so I won't be making it my problem by moving. Words to that effect. I think a solid retort. You proved my point. It's not my fucking problem. So why would I make it my problem? Our friend Akbar said, nah, Jim, you're way off on this one. It's safer for everyone if you're not in the passing lane with someone behind you, especially on 83, dog. That one hurt because I love Akbar.
Yeah. Talk all the time. On 83, just, get out of the fast lane. Let those people rack up speeding tickets. Who gives a fuck?
Of course. But also I want to say shouts out Akbar and shouts out. I think that in these situations, I don't know how to act. It's a conflict of identity for me because I'm going to admit this to the public now. I so badly would like to project an image of unbotheredness by the people who disagree with my takes. Yeah. But the truth is, people, I don't have these opinions to piss you off.
Yeah.
I didn't sit in a polling room in a think tank and go, what's a good bit?
Yeah, what's a way to get engagement in the comment section this week?
I wholeheartedly believe in what I said. And therefore, if I reply to your comment saying I'm way off with like a 3-paragraph discourse,
that already shows that you're...
I know it doesn't look cool.
Yeah.
I know that the cool thing for me to do is be like, who cares? I'm not moving. Get over it. But that's not me, dude. That's not me. I have an entire philosophical stance on this issue. And I feel when people come in, I feel I didn't realize how opposed to these people I am until this issue. Like I said to one of them, I said, I literally could not agree with myself more. I feel I am so right. And it's a beautiful thing because it's not a political issue. It's not really it is a polarizing issue, but it doesn't really hurt anyone. To me, this is a massive philosophical debate. And the philosophical debate to me comes down to people are saying, look, you just admitted yourself that you're also breaking the law. And I go, okay, true. And they're so like, okay, so if you're breaking the law, just move over for the person. It's like, but why does one person's breaking of the law have preference over my breaking of the law?
Yeah, like, there's no right of way for the law being broken.
Exactly.
2 wrongs don't make a right.
It means pass to the right. That's what 2 wrongs mean. How can one person sit there and go, hey, I'm trying to break the law, and your breaking the law has impeded on my ability to break the law? Since when does that make sense? I believe what we're experiencing is there's a lot of people who like going fast. You don't think I like going fast? Quick poll. Who here likes getting places slower?
Yeah.
When you're driving.
Another quick poll. Who knows exactly where every single red light camera, speed camera, and everything is in their area, and they know when to slow down when they're near it, but they speed up otherwise?
Exactly.
Raise your hands. Everyone? Crazy.
Whoa! That's nuts. Okay, so everyone likes to go fast. Everyone, when you pull up your Google Maps thing and it says 35 minutes to the destination, does anyone go, I can make that longer?
Yeah.
No, we all go 35 minutes. That's bullshit.
I can shave like
easy
2 or 3
29.
minutes off.
Easy 33. So we all like going faster. So we're all in the same boat there. So what it really is, I'm not accusing everyone that disagrees with me of this, but I'm accusing a lot of you of this. You're selfish. I said it. You're selfish. You want to go fast, and so you are a huge stickler. You will die on the hill of the technicality of traffic, which states that left lane traffic must move for faster traffic. You follow that rule to the T. Why? Because it benefits you. But the rule that says you're not supposed to speed and reckless drive, you conveniently ignore that rule because that rule doesn't help you. So what it really comes down to is a bunch of people who want to go fast and are inconvenienced by the reality that if you're going 20 over in the fast lane, you're also breaking the law. Mm-hmm. You're breaking the law arguably more. In fact, definitely more. I could bore you with the traffic statistics, but let's imagine for ourselves, because we're not a big sources podcast, all right? We're an ideas podcast. Let's just
like at that point, once you're going like 20 and over the speed limit, isn't that like reckless endangerment or some shit?
It is quite literally reckless driving. Anything over 20 miles over is reckless driving. So, and that, my friends, believe it or not, will get you a much larger ticket than getting pulled over for just riding in the fast lane, which is ticketable, but I've never been pulled over for that. I've been pulled over for speeding countless times. I've never been pulled over for going 10 over in the fast lane. That's a normal thing. So your offense is worse than my offense, yet for some reason, you feel like you have the moral high ground to demand that I stop breaking the law because it's in the way of your more egregious breaking of the law. That's wrong. It's just objectively, morally, principally, and probably legally wrong. It's a false argument.
Yeah, by me letting you pass me in the fast lane, I'm an accomplice to your crime.
Very good point. Very good point. Didn't even think about that, but that could certainly be argued in court.
Yeah, literally could be argued in court.
I think what happens is people, like I said before, they're unable of thinking outside of what benefits them. Also, I think people are so proud of themselves for knowing this to be a fact. And this happens a lot.
Or just like projecting the image of like, I'm a goody two shoes and I'm better than you because of that. And because I let people go around me.
Well, yeah, exactly. It really has infuriated me, and not infuriated, but it has invigorated me to fight back. I like I said, I mean I think it's a good topic, and I flat out think you guys are wrong. I flat out think you guys are wrong. I would love to argue this with somebody on the podcast. But until then, I think it's safe to say that any sensible person I know, and it's not every sensible person, but it's just a matter of principle. It's just a matter of principle. So again, I'm surprised by the backlash, but I think that's awesome. I think that's awesome that there was any noticing at all. So that's nice. Bringing it back to more relevant things, because I do want to tap into, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, you had a story that is chilling in that cooler over there on ice.
Oh, yeah.
Which is probably melted by now.
It's definitely melted, and honestly, I wish I had more progress on it that I could tell you. But,
oh, no.
So the other week, we were just hanging out in the house, house owner tings, and we're chilling in the kitchen. We walk back out into our little living room, and we see a little mouse run across the floor. Run across from one side, and then just starts to hide under the couch. So we're like, fuck. Mm-hmm. Like, we got to get some mouse traps and shit. We got to set this up. I tried to make like a makeshift trap at first. I got like a big bucket, and then I had like a ramp to go into the bucket, and then I made like a diving board with peanut butter on the end of it, and I balanced it so it was like balanced on there, and I put a little bit of tape so that once the mouse got to the end of the diving board to eat the peanut butter, it would fall into the bucket and be trapped.
I can't help but picture the Tom and Jerry cartoon where they have a similar trap, And then Jerry's like doing like bounces on the diving board, like, and then does like a perfect dive and then like gets out.
Dude, you're laughing, but I've caught a mouse like this before.
Really?
Yeah. Caught a mouse like this at my parents' house before.
Wow.
Didn't work this time at my house, so I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna get some humane traps.
Well, the city mice have seen that before.
City mice
They're
have
not
seen
falling for
the bucket diving board gag before. So, you know, I stepped it up. I got some humane traps off Amazon, set those up. They're the kind that, like, you know, it captures them but doesn't kill them. Because I didn't want to kill the little tiny baby mouse.
You don't want to kill the mouse. I agree with that.
So, like, a night or two after I put them up, it's like 12:30 at night. I hear a snap, and I hear a mouse freaking out downstairs. I'm like, fuck. Wow. Like, I don't want to deal with this right now. But then all of a sudden, I hear, like, just a bunch of banging downstairs, a bunch of, like, and I'm like, oh, he's probably in the trap trying to get out. And he's, like, you know, screaming for help. And then just like a bunch of shit. So I'm like, oh my God, I gotta go check this out. Like, go downstairs, trap is empty. But there's like poop around the trap. So I'm like, they were at the trap. Wow. But I bet, here's my theory. He called his buddies and his buddies let him out of the trap. So,
I don't think that's a crazy theory.
I don't think that's a crazy theory either, because I hear a noise, so I go out into the living room. I was in the kitchen. Go out to the living room. Don't see anything in the traps. Hear the noise coming from the kitchen this time. I'm like, are these motherfuckers in the kitchen? I was just in there. Walk in the kitchen. I realize that the noises are coming from our drop ceiling. I turn my head to look up, and we have a fluorescent tube light in the ceiling, and it's just all drop ceiling around it. Mm-hmm. I see the silhouettes of 3 mice running across the fucking light in the ceiling, I see like the ceiling shaking from them freaking out, running around.
Holy shit.
And like the tiles like bouncing in the ceiling, and I see they're fucking scramming across the top of so I'm freaked out, adrenaline pumping. I go to bed being like,
your adrenaline going.
I need to get kill traps now.
Yeah.
I guess I need a cat or a dog or something.
Yeah.
To kill these little rodents. Mm-hmm. And then I put in a quote for a fucking exterminator, because I'm like, I'm not fucking dealing with that.
So your humane phase is over.
My humane phase is completely over. I hear back from the exterminator the next day, and they're like, hey, it's going to be like $450 to come out once and then a return visit to pick up all the dead shit, I guess. And I'm like, $450, way too much.
Yeah.
Moving on with killing the mice phase.
Boom. Okay.
Buy a bunch of kill traps, buy a bunch of bait.
So now you have like
buy a bunch of little
trap,
like smelly tea bags.
What do the tea bags do?
They stink to mice, I guess.
Oh, okay. Mice don't like tea.
They don't like the tea.
Interesting.
So I put a bunch of those around the house.
What if you have British mice?
Setting up the kill traps. Oh, shit. I'm going to be fucked.
You're fucked.
Setting up the traps, and I go to pick up one of the humane traps to like get rid of it, because I'm like, I'm killing these bitches. Pick it up, and then all of a sudden it starts moving around in my hands. I recaught one of the mouses in the fucking humane trap. I drop it on the floor. It almost gets free again.
Oh, wow.
And I end up like, I put the trap in a bag. I like put the bag, I like closed the handle of the bag in my door in my car, and then like had it outside of my car, because I'm like, I'm not letting this bitch loose in my car by accident. So I'm like driving through my neighborhood with like a mouse and a trap smacking the side of my car door on the outside of the car.
You have really evolved out of your humane phase. You're like car dragging
I'm
a mouse you caught.
I hate to say this. I'm going to get flack for this, but I Freddy Grayed the mouse by accident. But it's the only way to describe it.
Oh my God. So the mouse was dead, I imagine, by
the
time.
mouse was fine. The
he
mouse
was fine.
okay. And not to that extent, you know.
He was a little beaten up.
He was beaten up. I drove like 3 or 4 blocks away. I like thought I was by the woods by my house, because it was dark. It was like 9 o'clock. I think this literally happened when I got back from the podcast last week. Okay. So it was like 9 or 10 o'clock.
So it's good that you held it off.
So it was good that I held it off. and I like go to where I think the wood starts near my house, and I like take the trap out of the bag. I go to the like tree line, and I like let the mouse loose into the woods, and then I like look up to see where it's running, and it's like beelining straight towards another house.
At least it's somebody else's house.
Someone else's house.
Wow.
So I spend like the next day, you know, all the traps are set up. I do a perimeter check. I seal all the cracks and crevices around my house where anything could be getting in. Put a bunch of bait up, put a bunch of peppermint oil out. Haven't heard anything yet. Haven't seen anything yet. Haven't killed any more mice or caught any more mice. I wish I had more to tell.
You're awakening me to a whole new echelon of mouse repellent. I didn't know peppermint and tea bags.
Yeah, peppermint oil. Well, so I call it a tea bag. It was like a scent pouch. It wasn't a real tea bag. It wasn't like, you know, whatever the fuck.
Earl Grey.
Old English or whatever, you know what I mean? But it was like a package with a bunch of like spices or herbs or whatever the fuck in it. And it like smells a little bit like peppermint and some other shit. Didn't smell bad to me, but apparently mice really don't like
Mice hate
peppermint and all this other shit. It's like too strong for their noses, so they avoid it.
Okay.
So I've just been like blasting peppermint oil behind my oven, in the ceiling, and under the couch and everything.
Have you considered a scare owl?
Here's the thing. I have this like cat statue. It's like an Egyptian cat statue that I got from my aunt when she passed away. And I was telling Elizabeth last night, like, we should just like put it out in the middle of the floor and just like move it around every night.
Yep.
To like put it in new places.
Yep.
And literally, yeah, have it like be a scarecrow for the mice.
The difficult thing about the difficult thing about being a human being is we tend to underestimate the intelligence of our adversaries.
Oh yeah.
These mice, I don't doubt for a second that they let that mouse out of that trap.
Oh, me neither.
They've probably seen the real traps, and when they saw that he was alive, they were like, all right, this is all mice do is lift shit up to get shit they want, crawl into places, and you don't think that if they saw that a mouse was trapped, that they were like, dude, remember
obviously
how we
he
lift
got in
shit?
there.
Yeah, like we do this all the time.
Well,
this
and
is basic
also
problem solving.
the way the trap works, the one that I think they sprung him from, it's basically just like, think of like a clear paper towel tube. One end has the bait and it slides up, and the other end is just like a trap door that flips open when he goes near the bait. So it's down on the inside when it's active, and then when he snaps it, it closes from the inside, so then he can't push it open from the inside. But if someone from the outside pushes in on that door, they could just reset the trap and let him loose. Wow. And I think that's what happened.
So it might have not even been the mouse.
The mouse that got caught, I think when he was crying out for help, someone else came and opened that trap for
Or
him.
it could have just been basic capitalism where the other mouse also wanted some of that food and was like, I'll just walk up this fucking tube and then
true.
open the door, and then they both got out. It might have been an act of selfishness. I don't know
It could have.
I don't know how mice think, but I do believe that much like viruses, the vermin of the microbial world, when you get like, immunity or a vaccine or something, it's a matter of time until that virus is like, all right, this shit's not working, let's figure something else out. These mice are thinking, living things, and when they encounter a situation, they're not here for no reason, dude. They can problem solve, and like you're basically evolving the mice in your house.
Yeah.
They're gonna keep amping it up to
And
the point
that's
where
why I already went nuclear with it. I bought kill traps instantly the
you're
next
going
day.
Oppenheimer on them.
Yeah.
Where people are like, well, is this really necessary? And you're like, I have to show them now.
Yeah.
I have to show them now. I'm saving
The mice are like the Japanese. They're not going to stop.
I'm
Unless
saving
you do a show of force.
I'm saving mice lives right now because I could continue killing them slowly or just drop one fucking nuclear trap that they're like, we're not going back there. That's what I did at the studio. Mice, I think that mice, you could probably ask your mice. I think they know not to come here, dude. I used to have a mouse problem. And then for like a week straight, I was catching 2 mice a day. I had a trap on that side on the ledge and a trap here on the ledge. Like fucking mouse 95. Like this is the mouse highway.
Yeah, this is 695.
The Silk Road.
Beltway.
Yeah. They love traveling that fucking ledge. And I was just nailing this when I was younger and I didn't care as much about mouse life. I was just nailing them. Dude, they were gone. I haven't seen a mouse in here in the better half of a decade now. Because they still remember. I'm not happy about it that I had to show that force, but sometimes it's what you got to do. Because I don't know if I don't have the heart for it anymore. Back in the day, I was a young virile guy. I had to prove a point. Now I'm like, I'm soft. I hope no mice are listening to this.
Well, and I
heard he's soft.
That's how I started. That's how I started very soft. I was like, I don't want to kill a little baby mouse.
Yeah.
I want to kill a little cute little guy. And then when I saw them, for whatever reason, them just above my head, like out of a fucking horror movie, like I just saw their like silhouettes in the light and then just like hearing all the noises of them scuttling around scared, it freaked me the fuck out.
Yeah.
And I was like, all right, I'm going to bed whenever my adrenaline stops fucking pumping and I'm going to kill them all now.
Yeah. I'm in a tough spot because unfortunately, I'm going to clue you guys into my softer side here. But Liv and I have named the mouse that's always in my apartment.
Oh, God.
His name is Herman. Herman the Vermin.
Oh, no.
And now I can't kill him. It's just like he's basically a pet now. Once you give him it's like, I wonder how
you're about to move out, though, so that's going to be someone else's vermin soon
Yeah,
enough.
but I'll have mice at some point in my life.
Everyone gets mice. And that's like the thing where, like, when it first happened, I was like, oh, my God, like, am I, like, the dirtiest person alive? Like, is this because I didn't do the dishes, like, last night by accident? But it's like, no, it just fucking happens. Everyone gets mice. Just, take care of the issue before it gets too bad.
I really wish that someone on Nextdoor saw you with the mouse bag out your car.
Oh, dude, I wish someone ratted on me last night. Does anyone have a Ring camera on Evesham Road between 9 and 9:30?
Literally.
I think someone released something in my yard. I don't know.
Literally ratted
Like,
on
that
you.
was me, bitch. Enjoy the mouse.
Wow, dude. That's unfortunate. Now you got to get an exterminator. And
I'm not doing that. I mean,
Fuck that.
if it gets to a point where I need an exterminator, I'll get an exterminator. But, like, once I saw the sticker shock of like $450, I was like, bitch, I'll do this. Yeah. Like, I bought all the shit and it was like $30. I'm like, okay.
$450. Though.
Yeah.
That's
I mean, because that's for the 2 trips, to be fair. I think it's like one visit, they come to set the traps and bait, and then they come back to make sure the problem is going away and to clean up dead shit, I guess.
I think you could get a cat. You could borrow a cat, and
someone offered to borrow their cat to us, and then they got COVID the same day.
Damn.
Yeah.
Speaking of mice and COVID, I saw an article that apparently they can carry it. Coincidence?
Damn.
Coincidence? You don't think the mice already thought of that? They were like, I hear he's going to get a cat from this people. Let's fucking go over their house.
Damn. That's fucked.
Well, that is worth the wait. I can't believe that. A tale of 2, I don't know, just adversaries.
A game of cat and mouse.
Literally, a game of cat and mouse. I was just going to say get the smell in there. I always kind of had a fantasy of having like a pet snake that would roam free. Just like a snake that just wanders the house.
I mean, that would be crazy. But also, like, I can totally imagine me putting a snake up there and then, like, forgetting about it. And then 3 weeks later, like, a giant fucking snake, because he ate all the mice.
Oh.
And they get big as shit. And then all this, now you got a snake problem.
Now you have a legitimate python in your house. You're like, God damn it. This totally backfired.
That was it. That was the story I was holding off on.
No, that's great. It's great. That's a good story. It's good that people know about this. These are things you have to deal with when you have a home. Because my situation in an apartment is there's nothing I can do. I can only set traps in my apartment. I can't control if the guy next to me is dirty as fuck.
Well, especially because like you have some guy on your floor that's like probably causing the whole problem, right?
Apparently, according to some other neighbor who was sending a message to that guy by leaving a dead mouse or a live mouse in front of his door. I think it's kind of weird to even insinuate that one specific person is responsible for the mice problem. But
like they're just trying to get food and stay warm.
I'm also not convinced it's not me. I'm not like
I know, yeah. I mean, it definitely could be me too, because I think that's also what made us like cut our super long grass in the backyard.
Yeah,
'cause I'm like, dude, if my grass was, fucking old white man's cut length, like if it was like quarter an inch high,
with
dude,
like
a fucking
streaks.
bird would have swooped and grabbed that
easy.
tiny little mouse
Too easy
before it even got to my front door.
Exactly. My house is to a level where I don't really want anybody coming in it unless I have an hour's notice to like clean it up. Like, and that's grounds for probably being part of the problem. If you have to like clean your house for an hour before anyone you know comes in your apartment or anyone you don't know,
then it might be you.
It's probably you.
And hey, we've all been there.
Hey, let's talk about. This is really the only other thing I wanted to talk about because it's becoming comical at this point. Well, actually, two things. We'll talk about two things, both having to do semi with politics. Have you seen like the Mitch McConnell thing, freezing up?
Oh yeah, he like did it twice now, right?
Yeah, I met Joe right after you left after the last podcast. Joe from the band was like, "Yeah, man, it happened again." I'm actually going to play. I actually pulled up this clip because this one is. It's just.
I mean, like something's wrong with him.
Oh, obviously.
Because I saw another thing where someone pulled up like a picture of him last year around this time and versus him now, and like, dude, he looks terrible.
Yeah. Like happening once is first of all that should be enough to be like, what the fuck is going on? So I assume everyone's seen the first one. I'm gonna have to go back into like my history here. I totally had it.
Can't wait to watch another guy talk about this video and not
I
even
know,
show the clip.
This is the worst. Here we go.
Attending physician for Congress is reporting Kentucky Senator Mitch McConnell's in good health following his second freeze-up in 2 months. Last week in northern Kentucky, McConnell failed to answer a reporter's question and instead stared off without speaking for close to 30 seconds. Tuesday, his office shared a letter from Dr. Brian Monahan.
Really?
So I was across from where I was in Ohio.
EEG and a comprehensive neurology assessment. The doctor said there are no signs of seizures, stroke, or neurological disorder. Yesterday, the 81-year-old senator spoke on the Senate floor.
Now, one particular moment of my time back home has received its fair share of attention in the press over the past week. But I assure you, August was a busy and productive month for me and my staff.
McConnell has said he feels fine following the episode.
All right. So once again, folks, as you imagined, of course, we weren't actually able to just see the fucking clip because that is apparently against the rules of the internet now. You are only allowed to see information through the lens of someone else telling you what happened. And that is a larger issue that I will not delve into at the moment. But at a certain point, first of all, I didn't even know that he spoke to that. That little last part of the clip was actually news to me in real time news. Mitch McConnell's one instance, obviously, you don't even have to say the Biden situation with like, he hasn't had a moment like that, but he's like, it's feeling like he's been edging that moment for the past 3 years. And then you have the other woman, Dianne Feinstein or whatever, who's like literally like 90 something. And she like, her situation is her daughter literally has power of attorney over her affairs at this moment. And yet this woman who can't even be trusted in charge of her own affairs is sitting occupying public office, making decisions for the entire American public.
Yeah.
It's a weird situation we're in to see a guy like Mitch McConnell, who I never really paid too much attention to politics up until recently, and even then, like the establishment Republican Party, even they annoy me.
Yeah,
I
I mean, it's just sickening to see like all of the leaders of this country be like weekends at Bernie'd by fucking corporations and lobbyists.
That is exactly what I was getting at. Is if the clip wasn't being talked over by some person, his staffer, like while he was freezing up, was like, "Should we take another question?" Like blah blah blah. Like, how do you watch this happening twice in the past month? Maybe even less than that. Could have been even been in the past 3 to 2 weeks.
Well, these are just the public ones.
Yes,
like
these are the public ones.
This probably happens every day for those staffers. Like, you know what I mean?
Well, yeah, that's a good point too. Let's observe the statistical likelihood that the only 2 times that this has happened in the past month have happened to be in the 10-second moments where they happen in front of the public. Now, you could make the argument that when you're in front of cameras, that it raises you to a higher level of alert and stress, and therefore it might cause it more often. But still, when it's happening,
That might happen if it's like your first time in front of a camera. But
Maybe,
these people have been
yeah.
in front of cameras for like probably more than half their lives.
But this is his like 90th billionth time in front of a camera.
Yeah, exactly.
He's been talking in public since probably before they had cameras. The guy's like almost 90.
Yeah.
It's such a blatant exhibition or illustration of what's really going on, which is that you have these vessels, basically, is what these people have become. Guys like Mitch McConnell, Dianne Feinstein, in my opinion, Joe Biden. These vessels that are basically there because of their name and whatever else goes along with just their level of establishment in that position, where now they are completely I don't even know what the word is. They're not even really there. And then you have all these other vultures that are basically feeding off of their... I'm sounding dramatic right now, but in a way it's kind of accurate. They're like parasites that are feeding off of this dying thing. That like, okay, Mitch McConnell is established. Mitch McConnell, just based off of his track record and establishment alone, is going to keep getting voted into office. He doesn't even know what the fuck is going on at this point, but we can all kind of latch on to him because ourselves individually don't have nearly the level of notoriety to occupy this position, but Mitch does. So we'll put Mitch in there, and then we'll all be able to just basically control things from behind the scene and use him as a puppet. It's crazy that all this is happening all at once. I don't know if this has happened this often in other points in history, but there was another incident where a tweet was posted to Joe Biden's Twitter, and it was like, when I ran for president, blah, 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 but it wasn't posted to Joe Biden's Twitter. It was posted to Karine Jean-Pierre, the press secretary. But she was writing it as if she was Joe Biden because she obviously runs Joe Biden's Twitter account. Yeah. And so much like how sometimes I'll accidentally share a story to my personal page that I meant to share to the podcast page, she's occupying her personal page, but also the president of the United States' page. And she just forgot to double tap that icon before she tweeted some fake bullshit tweet that Joe Biden wasn't even aware of, that was going out to the public, and she's just playing the role of president to the public.
I mean, that's such a, smaller malfraction, if that's the right use of that word, because it's like, dude, like, all presidents have speech writers, all presidents have press secretaries, they don't all, like, at the whatever presidential review, whatever the fuck they do every year, where they give a speech, like, that's not just them riffing off the top of their head. You know what I mean? Like,
for the most part, yeah.
Yeah.
I would argue that that doesn't necessarily apply to Trump, but I get what you're saying.
Yeah, but like outside of Trump, 44 other presidents, 45, I guess, because he was 45, but now there's 46.
Yeah.
45 other, maybe not all the way back to George Washington and fucking
Yeah, I don't know if
Lincoln
I was
or
running George
whatever.
Washington's Twitter, but I get what you're saying.
But like fucking Kareem Abdul-Jabbar probably doesn't run his fucking Instagram account. You know what I mean? Like,
Well,
it should be expected at this point.
I
Like,
guess
that's not really a big gotcha. A big gotcha is Dianne Feinstein having a fucking dementia episode during a vote on the floor of the House, and her aide being like, just raise your hand and say yes.
yeah,
That's
okay.
bad.
I agree with you, and I'm not trying.
Someone accidentally tweeting from they're not the account they meant to tweet it from. That's not.
Yeah,
that's
it's
nothing.
It's
That's
okay.
literally nothing.
I wouldn't-
I'm gonna say that.
Okay. I would say
There's
this.
literally nothing but that.
I agree with the.
Mitch McConnell, the head of the GOP or whatever the fuck, the GOP whip or whatever the fuck they call it, him not being there mentally and physically, that's bad.
It fits into. I'm not raising the whole. I didn't raise the whole Karine Jean-Pierre thing because I am trying to be as much as I can balanced as possible as to not alienate people on either side of political aisle, which is why I'm talking about both the House Minority Leader.
Newsflash. That's never happened.
Yeah, I'm trying to be like, hey, it's happened on both sides of the equation here. I'm not saying that the Karine Jean-Pierre accidentally tweeting as Joe Biden from her own account is this like revealing like conclusion to a conspiracy theory. But it is just another coin and a drop in the bucket of kind of just illustrating what's really going on, which is that you have these and even to your point about how like, yeah, that probably has been the case for all presidents. And like I was saying, I would argue that it probably wasn't nearly as much the case for Trump, which a lot of people would say was a worse thing because maybe they didn't want Trump to be completely unfiltered, speaking his mind on Twitter. And maybe it's better that you have some staffers carefully concoct the perfect statement in any situation. But you also lose something with that, which is authenticity and a real actual connection to the person that you voted for president. Like when you have a person who is the leader of the free world, and then you see that his public statements are not just being like, it's not even like, you know, he has an idea and then somebody's like, well, here's how we should say that. And he's like, okay, good. I'll type that out instead. That would be one thing. It's like, okay, great. Yeah. When I understand when you're occupying that position that it's probably better to kind of filter your ideas through a group of people to make sure that you're not saying the wrong thing or coming off the wrong way. But at a certain point, you know, whether it's the norm or not, it exposes what, in my opinion, is what we're dealing with, and we're seeing it on a grander scale with Mitch McConnell's situation, and of course, Dianne Feinstein's situation. But it exposes the reality, which is that how in control are these faces that are the people that are on your ballot versus how in control are the people behind them that are really the ones that are writing the speeches and communicating to the public on a daily basis via social media, and who is really president.
I mean, then if that's the case you're bringing to the table, we shouldn't have to worry about the press secretary then. You should be worried about like executives from the fucking Silicon Valley bank that got, you know, bailed out or whatever. You know what I mean? Like it's not a fucking...
Yeah, I'm not accusing
like,
Karine Jean-Pierre of running the country either. I'm saying that exactly what you're saying. It's like there are interest groups that are exercising their will on our political process via these empty vessels. And I think you'd have to be silly to look at that empty vessel. And now it's, especially when it's becoming so glaringly apparent, the fact that Mitch McConnell at the end of that clip, which I didn't even know he did, comes out and instead of being like, look, this is the second time this has happened in 3 weeks, and clearly I'm dealing with some stuff. And I'm speaking to this. He's the House Minority Leader for the Republicans, and I'm saying like that's a situation where you got to come out and say like, dude, I got to step down. Like, it's one thing if you're like, the manager of like, in any other job, even that. I can't think of any other job where a person could be that like unable to perform the basic duties of just speaking. Without freezing up in an obvious, like you're battling old age and stuff like that. And still, instead of being like, yeah, probably it's a good time for me to like back down. And I think even in Kentucky, they have a setup where if somebody steps down from a political position during their term, that the governor can appoint a new person to occupy that term, but the person that he appoints has to be from the same political party. That's something I've heard. So it's not even as if Mitch McConnell were to step down that he would be replaced by like a Democrat or something. He would just be replaced by like the next guy in line in Kentucky for the Republican Party. So the fact that he's trying to maintain this thing where it's like, this is normal, don't worry about it. It's not normal. It's not normal. And it's weird that like some shit like this can happen and people are alarmed, but it's like, it's gotten to the point of comedy. I mean, this like it's so glaring in your face that these people are just voice boxes. Like, okay, great. Yeah, if it is the normal thing for presidents to have staffers do all their communications, that's great. I would argue that's not really that great of a thing, though. I would argue that probably if you voted for a president, you want to hear what they're thinking and not what their staffers are thinking. I would argue that he probably doesn't even know what is being tweeted on his account on a daily basis. I don't even think that these tweets are run by him, and that's pure speculation. But from everything I've seen, there's nothing that stands out to me as like, oh, this is a guy who's in control of what's going on. All I've been able to pick out is that, to me, it seems glaringly obvious that you have a person, just like with Mitch McConnell and Dianne Feinstein, in Joe Biden's situation that is there because of the name recognition, mostly because he was Obama's vice president, and also even more mostly because he wasn't Donald Trump. Because, like I said before, that election wasn't Joe Biden versus Trump. It was not Trump versus Trump, and not Trump won. And so now you have this guy who, like, all I'm saying with the Karine Jean-Pierre thing is like, it just, I don't know. It's weird that it's become so normalized that even when it gets drawn to people's attention, like, oh, well, that's just what it is. And it's like, I mean, okay. I remember I was in not an argument, but like debating with somebody like a long time ago. And
you
they
were
were
in an argument.
An argument. Aryoument. Argument. And it was a kid that went to our high school whose dad is like a congressman. And I was talking about something or other. This is back in like the election of 2016 when I was saying that I wasn't pleased with how Bernie handled the whole getting pushed out of the primaries. And he was like, well, that's just politics, man. That's just what you do. That's just how it works. And I was like, and I was even talking about this with Lucas the other day, where I was saying like, my whole issue, I guess, with Bernie, who I do like as a person, was I think people were met with kind of that harsh reality of like, at the end of the day, you're serving the party. There's no other way to argue it. When you sit there and run an entire campaign on how corrupt and wrong and everything wrong with the country your opponent is for an entire campaign, for an entire political race, and then when you lose, you basically pull a full 180 and go, well, actually, we had to vote for this person. It's like, and then people would say like, well, you got to do that for the good of the party. And it's like, okay, but what is the purpose of politics? Is politics for the good of the party, or is it for the good of the people? When politicians are making moves that ultimately their number one priority is to benefit the party, then it shows a clear conflict of interest, because I don't think if you ask the average American citizen, hey, do you care more about the benefit of the Democrat or Republican Party, or do you care more about just the overall well-being of the country? And if that means that it has to hurt one or the other parties, then so be it. But then you have these politicians where they run against each other and are calling each other out for their flaws, and then the second one of them wins, then every other politician completely 180s and in full support of that person that they all swore was the worst person ever, simply because it's who the party picked. And you could say that's politics, but that doesn't make it a good thing. And I think we're watching right now on full display that I don't think we know. I don't think we actually know who's running the country right now. And I would also argue that we did know who was running the country 4 years ago. We might not have liked it, but at least we knew who was running it. Now, like it or not, I don't know what the fuck's going on.
I mean, I'm pretty sure, like, up until now, most presidents have been at least there, or like most politicians have been mentally there.
Yes.
For whatever reason, like, it might have been because of Trump. Mm-hmm. Like, the people who are in those positions didn't want to give away that power just in case someone like Trump filled that vacuum.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of get that, but it's like at the detriment of all of us.
Well, yeah, it goes to show.
Good.
It goes to show you how much money is tied up in these specific people. That no matter how bad they get, all the people that have money invested into this politician are like, we can't relinquish this position. We have to keep it, or else we have to plunge all our money into someone else. So let's hold on to it as long as we can. So to wrap everything up, for anyone wondering if this is normal, I promise you it's not. And it really is pathetic. It's really pathetic. But, not saying anything bad about Mitch McConnell or Dianne Feinstein or Joe Biden, even on a personal level on who they are as people. But, if my grandmother, who I love very much, was occupying political office, I would think there was probably something wrong with that, because she has fucking dementia. She doesn't know what the hell's going on, and my father is in charge of her affairs. And if you find yourself to be a 90-something-year-old woman in political office whose daughter is in charge of her own affairs because she can't be trusted to manage her own affairs, perhaps you should relinquish your political position. If you find yourself in political office...
If you've given your power of attorney to someone else, you should not be a leader. If you can't drive yourself, if you've had your license taken away, you shouldn't be a political leader. If you go to the early bird dinner special,
if you find yourself at Peppermill, yes. If you find yourself at Peppermill,
should not be a leader.
You might be out of office. Folks, thanks for tuning in to yet. We'll see, 100% of the room agrees with that point we just made, but we'll see if we're shocked by the larger than 2 sample size that we're appealing to. Not much larger, but apparently large enough to get some backlash. Any plugs?
Nah, not right now. I mean, if you're in the Lake Walker community, come check us out at our chili competition.
Welcome to my block party. Yes, that's awesome. Chili cook-off going against Bobby Flay. I think you can take him.
Yeah, I'm beating Bobby Flay.
Folks, busy week leading up to a not busy week, because next week I'm not doing much. But this week I will be at Ampersea, Thursday, September 7th. Usually they're pretty much all Thursdays, except for next one, because I'll be in Ocean City, as I'll tell you about. But Thursday, 6 to 9, September 7th at Ampersea and Fells Point. I will be at Nacho Mama's on Friday, September 8th. I usually do my first Saturdays there, which I did, but I'm also filling in for a Friday this week, September 8th, 4 to 7 at Nacho Mama's in Towson, not Canton, Towson. Saturday, September 9th, pulling the old double header. I will be down in Arbutus on the west side, which I rarely find myself in Baltimore County down there in Arbutus at Heavy Seas Brewery from noon to 3 p.m. on Saturday, September 9th. I believe they're doing some like type of wing fest or something. So that Heavy Seas, that's the beer.
Hell yeah.
That's their brewery.
That's sick.
And I will also that evening be in Gaithersburg in the world famous Kentlands at Vine Alley, 7 to 10. That's Saturday, September 9th, Heavy Seas, 12 to 3 p.m. and Vine Alley, 7 to 10. If you are someone's grandmother, I will be at Mercy Ridge this coming Monday.
Ooh.
A little, that's a private gig, but if you happen to have a relative in Mercy Ridge, let them know. They'll probably forget about it, but let them know. I will be in Ocean City this week, and then when I come back, I will be at the Water Street something. I don't know what it's called. Water Street Tavern or something up in Havre de Grace from 5 to 9. Dom's old coworker from Roost Chris works there now, got me a gig. He also apparently thinks I am huge.
Nice.
Because he has been stressing. He was like, dude, it's a really small place. Please don't promote it. We don't have enough room. And I don't have the heart to tell him that, dude, you don't have to worry about that. I think we'll be good. But it's flattering that he is really making an effort, unlike every other bar I've ever played at that's like, please bring people, we need money. This guy actively does not want me to promote it because he's just afraid I'm going to pack the place out. And I hope he doesn't lose any sleep at night about that, because I promise you it won't be an issue. Other than that, at Sophomore MD, I believe we're me, Eric, the band, we're working on a little thing for you, little acoustic little concert thing we're going to put out at the end of the month that's in the works. But at Sophomore MD across the board, at Jimmy Selesky, at Eric Glazer.
Yes, sir.
And of course, at LFTS Podcast on everything. Till next week. Peace.